In 1865, the Civil War was ending. So why were 40 women in LaGrange, Georgia, just now picking up their rifles? Hi, I'm JR, the director of the Reenactors documentary, here with your latest installment of Keeping the Hysteria in American History. History is chock full of stories just like this one. People making big decisions with bad intel, like the ladies of LaGrange. So let's talk about LaGrange. In year one of the war, 1,300 men marched off to fight for the Confederacy, leaving the little town exposed. That's when 40 local women, led by Nancy Hill Morgan, organized a militia, naming it the Nancy Harts, after a spy from the Revolutionary War. Although none of the Nancys had handled firearms before, they drilled for months, eventually becoming expert markswomen. And when the Union cavalry swept through West Georgia in 1865, the Confederate soldiers fled. But the Nancy Harts, they were ready. And they marched to the edge of town to face the enemy. However, they hadn't heard that a week earlier, Lee had already surrendered. So they were joining a fight that was basically over. Weird side note, the Union colonel who met them there was named Oscar Hugh LaGrange. No relation to the town, but it was still LaGrange versus LaGrange, which became the title of this epic painting by artist Mort Kunstler. Then, after the women got the lowdown on Appomattox, they surrendered too. Colonel LaGrange agreed to spare most of the town in exchange for a meal. Now, it seems no verified photographs of the Nancy Harts exist, but when you Google them, you might find this one, which looks pretty iconic, right? This same picture appears on the front cover of Women on the Civil War Battlefront, and here again in the American pageant, credited to the National Archives. Well, I went to the National Archives searching for the original, but it wasn't there. Just a photocopy reading Unidentified Women's Volunteer Unit, Washington, D.C. But that's wrong too. Using reverse image search, I think I finally tracked this photo down. And it looks like it's the Women's Drill Company from the University of Missouri in the 1880s. Sorry folks, that's 2 decades after the Civil War. So when we were asked to recreate the scene of the Nancy Harts for the front cover of this fictional novel, The Cotillion Brigade, we didn't have very much to go on. But I think we did all right, don't you? On my way to a reenactment, I got to visit the historic marker for the Nancy Harts, a reminder of women who'd been willing to take up arms until they got the full picture and negotiated peace. So, what hysterical history will you help us set straight in our next edition of Keeping the Hysteria in American History?